Let's turn to our first speaker, Utsav Chakrabarti, the Executive Director of Hindu Action. Utsav, please go ahead.
Thank you, everybody. And I thank Congressman McCormick for coming to this on such a short notice. You have been a friend to the Hindu community. I thank Rajiv, Nikunj, as well as the entire COHNA team for being so prompt in making sure that this briefing happens. Congressman McCormick, we have spoken about this many times before with you, Anne, and Philip. I'm going to start off with 1971, because what we are seeing today brings us back the memories of what happened in 1971. So in 1971, nearly 2.8 million Hindus were killed in Bangladesh within a span of 9 months by the Pakistan Army and its allies, the Jamaat-e-Islami, who call themselves Razakars. As many of you know, and many of you may have been watching on TV, the current new turmoil in Bangladesh that led to the removal of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina had protests where people were screaming, "We are Razakars." And that is why today we are looking at a specter of violence that could expand any time to the scale of 1971, when we lost 2.8 million Hindus. And that is why also it is important that we work with all possible leaderships in America today to make sure that 1971 is not repeated. But it is also important for us to understand that that was not the last time Hindus were subjected to such atrocities. In fact, the Hindu population has gone down from 17.5% in 1971 to 7.8% now. And this is because every time there's political turmoil and a regime change in Bangladesh, Hindus are the prime targets. In 2001, when the last time Sheikh Hasina was removed from power, there were thousands of Hindus who were killed and more than 600 Hindu women raped in just one village named Bhola. In fact, a few Hindu girls just survived because they could climb coconut trees. And that's the specter of violence we are looking at right now. So I want to highlight it for everybody listening to us today, that this is the time to ensure, to reach out and make sure that the White House, the State Department, as well as the Senate Foreign Relations Committee does not sit idle. In fact, Hindu Action, along with its allies over the past few days, had meetings with the State Department as well as with the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, led by the Democrats. And I'm sorry to say, so far, I have not seen much response from them to make sure that Hindus are protected. So I just want to draw your attention, Congressman, to a few things that we could do immediately. And I think the first of them is something that probably you are already working on. And that is to have a House oversight hearing as quickly as possible, whenever it convenes, in the Foreign Relations Committee, to ensure that whatever the State Department has done in the first week and whatever the White House has done in the first week has some oversight. We want to make sure that they act to ensure that Hindus are protected in Bangladesh. I also want to draw your attention to efforts that we should immediately make to ensure that the streets are not ruled by Islamist mobs any further, which includes, if needed, sending peacekeeping missions. The reason I point this out is because in the media, it is often mentioned that what is happening in Bangladesh is of political nature. It's people attacking other people who were already in power and trying to take revenge. That is not the case, as Nikunj has pointed out. In fact, a good canary in the coal mine is how not only the Hindus are treated, but also the Ahmadiyya community is treated. In fact, there is violence happening against the Ahmadiyyas right now as we speak. And that is because the people who are ruling the streets, the mobs that are ruling the streets right now, are not just students. They are actually talibs. They are madrasa-educated students who are fanatic Sunni Islamists who are targeting Ahmadiyyas along with Hindus. So that's a good canary in the coal mine to call the State Department out on and ensure that that is not happening again. Another thing I want to draw your attention to, Congressman, is the need for us Americans to ensure that the Hindus in Bangladesh have a path to seek refuge in our country. In fact, just like India has the CAA law that ensures that Bangladeshis or people from Pakistan who are of minority faiths could seek refuge in India, we should ensure that our Lautenberg Amendment, which in the past included many people from Eastern Europe who were facing atrocity, includes Bangladesh as well as Pakistan, especially Bangladesh at this point of time, so that people, Hindus especially from Bangladesh who are seeking refuge in America, can find a space in this country. And I'm sure that all of our community leaders, the Hindu community organizations, will join in to ensure that they are received properly and taken care of. I also want to draw your attention, Congressman, to the fact that so far, not one person from the White House or the State Department has spoken out in support of the Hindus. Not one statement has come out in support of the Hindus. And that is really tragic, because there is a perception in the entire world that the new interim government led by Mohammed Yunus is very close to the White House. And if at this time the White House actually speaks out in support of the Hindus, a lot can change on the ground. So it is important that we hold the leadership accountable to ensure that this is taken care of. I know there are speakers after me who will talk in detail about what is happening on the ground. We ourselves have more than 200 incidences that we have reported so far, with all the details of the names of the individuals who have been targeted, the villages that have been targeted, as well as the perpetrators' names. So we will be sharing that with you, but I will give it back to Nikunj so that other speakers can give you further details. Thank you very much.